Hey guys, Jay-Sensei here again. This is me. What if Ichigo had every war power? Before we begin, I'm not meant to be watched, I'm meant to be listened to. So if you have chores or daily tasks, go do it. If you're working, put this on, go to work. If this is any kind of content, but you just subscribed, watch for at least 5 minutes, maybe 10, so the video can be pushed out to the people who do want to watch this. And thank you for the support. Or just watch for 5-10 minutes in general if you just come across this and it's not your kind of content, because my videos are long. Comment what you like, what you dislike, or even like or dislike, or comment any questions you have. Alright, now let's start. So, in this one, Ichigo would be born with, I think I should do this one else first. The war powers. There's 5. There's Ichigo, Aizen, Kenpachi, Urahara, and Ichibei. Ichigo is the potential, Aizen is the Reiatsu, Kenpachi is the strength, or the power, Ichibei is the wisdom, and Urahara is the unknown, or basically he's a planner, basically. And Ichigo's basically the fact that he can basically pull anything out of nowhere, the fact that he's basically a culmination of every species in Bleach, except for, the Soul King, and even then he reached his tier power. And then you have Aizen, who basically, due to the fact that he's used with the Hogyoku, he basically unlocked, not unreachable, but damn near unreachable levels of Reiatsu. The point where I think the only person with as much Reishi as him might be, or actually more than him, would be the Soul King, which is 2 people. Spoiler, the Soul King is, first it was the original Soul King who was unnamed, and then once Yuha had done his own thing, Yuha became the new Soul King. He's the current Soul King when Ichigo's 27. So the only 2 people who might have more Reiatsu than Aizen are those 2. And even then it's a might. I'm not even sure. Actually, I'm pretty sure that they have more than Aizen, because they have to stabilize entire realms. But, after that, we have Kenpachi, who's basically just the strength, as I said before. His entire thing is that he is physically a unquantifiable monster. Like, the man slices meteors in half. I'm pretty sure he should do the same thing, but he has to exert a lot more physical force to do just that. And then we would basically have Urahara, who basically plans ahead for everything, or basically has the knowledge to achieve anything he needs to. And then Ichibei is just the wisdom, like he's basically ancient as shit, and he's basically 30 steps ahead because of that wisdom. He knows what's going to happen, he knows how it could happen, because he also gave names to most things, including Zanpakuto. So, with this, that basically make up the 5 war powers. And Ichigo would have a culmination of all those abilities. Now, as a kid, Ichigo was born kind of like Kazui, where he can basically phase in and out of a Shinigami state, being that he was born with so much Reiatsu, he has so much Reiatsu being pushed out that he was destabilizing the human realm, as his mother was trying to push him out. Urahara and the Visors would stabilize it, barely, but by the time they did, it was basically as much effort, they passed out for almost weeks on end, because they used all their Reiatsu stabilizing Ichigo's Reiatsu. And then with that, it would also allow him to more or less grow up being taught Shinigami ways, because, well, not Shinigami, probably Quincy as well, but Ichigo's mom and dad cannot teach him Shinigami and Quincy abilities that well. Because, Ichigo's Shinigami. He isn't a Gigai 24/7 at this point. Then his mom, I'm not sure she actually had fully access to Quincy abilities, so the fact that she was attacked by White. So her Quincy ability probably being destabilized. And Ryuken's probably aware of the human realm being destabilized. So I can probably see Ryuken and Urahara stepping in to teach Ichigo to use Quincy and Shinigami abilities. When it comes to he meets Tatsuki doing martial arts. He does martial arts with Urahara. When he meets Tatsuki, he folds her with one hand. So, yeah. And he also is used to hunting and killing hollows, and he does it properly because he was taught to do it properly by Urahara, Tessai, etc. Also, Yoruichi teaches him martial arts too. Mainly her, but eh. But also, Urahara does actually realize Ichigo's physical strength at the point where he started punching away Keto attacks. Like Urahara would basically use a Keto blast, as he knows Ichigo can take it if he's in a Shinigami form. He can flatten a building, but Ichigo can take it. At this point, Ichigo's 11. He punched that attack away to the point where the shockwave itself had almost knocked out Urahara. So that's Ichigo's unbelievable strength. His Reiatsu was already stabilizing a realm, but as it grows, he has to learn to control it to stabilize the realm. When the Soul King actually kind of subconsciously quit helping Ichigo's realm, and he's the one keeping it intact. The Soul King, I think it's still kind of conscious, yet not. It's kind of its own weird thing. Ichigo, by the way, the Consider Vision are aware of Ichigo's existence. They're aware of what he is doing. Soul King comes on standby waiting for Ichigo to at some point leave. So if Ichigo leaves, the Soul King will stabilize Ichigo's realm. So yeah, Ichigo kind of made the Soul King stronger because it could take a break for a little bit. At this point, Ichigo, in terms of Reiatsu and durability, is a transcended being by the time he's 15. Plus, with how smart him and Urahara are, him and Urahara kind of bounce ideas off each other because with Ichibe's wisdom combined with Urahara's unknown intelligence or unscalable intelligence, well, point where they kind of bounce ideas off each other 24/7, and Ichigo's ideas aren't more effective, but they're more thoughtful. Urahara's like, oh yeah, they're beneficial in this amount of time. Ichigo's like, how would they benefit all of us, like those who know about this plan? So Urahara and him kind of bounce ideas off each other for a while, but where they already have portals to multiple dimensions, not multiple, there's 3. 3.5. I'll count the Shadow Realm for the Quincy's. But yeah, there's the Seirete, the Hueco Mundo, and then there's the Human Realm. They're aware of the Shadow Realm, they just don't go in it because they're kind of terrified of fighting the entirety of the Quincy army. They think it's Quincy army. They don't know who is there. They're just aware of the legend of Quincy's because Ryukin trains Ichigo. Ichigo's aware of Quincy's. So yeah, so if the theory is right, a Quincy army is in that dimension. They don't want to mess with it. By the way, if you look at the thumbnail, Ichigo basically looks like this because his powers are more balanced, but in favor for his Quincy and Shinigami attire. By the way, if you guys are wondering like how Kazui changes in and out, he literally just can phase, like his matter completely just shifts. Like, you know how Ichigo basically his body has to be cast over to Cone whenever he turns into a Shinigami. Ichigo's body literally just shifts what it's made of subconsciously, and Kazui does the same thing. Or this version of Ichigo would do that. Kazui literally just shifts entire physical matter. Like he basically turns into a ghost. Well, Ichigo's body kind of just, his spirit kind of ejects and Cone takes over. No, Ichigo's entire, like his body, his soul, all that, shifts into being a ghost. Also at this point, Ichigo has met the visors, he knows how to use his hollow powers pretty well. Like by the time he's 15, everything he learns up until like the 1,000-year Blood War time skip, he knows. By the way, 1,000 Blood War time skip, I mean like by the time between him being 15 and 17, he learns all of that. Because he's been training with Shinigami and a Quincy, well, 2 Shinigami, 3 Shinigami, 1 Quincy, well, fuck. So Ichigo's teachers. Urahara, Tessai, Hiroichi. Those are the Shinigami. His Quincy teachers. Ryukin's father, and then Ryukin's father would soon die, and that actually led to Uryu helping Ichigo. So, like, 1.5 Quincy's. Because Uryu is kind of weaker than him by a lot. His skills are good, but Ichigo can have more output, which actually allows him to beat Uryu majority of the time. Ryukin's father and Uryu take up about 25% each time, Ryukin's the other 50%. And then the visors are their own thing, so they make up the other remaining bit of power that Ichigo would learn. For Fullbring, he doesn't really have an actual Fullbring, but like the Quincy Cross, he has that. That's basically just etched into his hand as his Fullbring, so he doesn't actually need to wear it or bring it out, he just has it open at all times. And it looks like a tattoo, so no one really questions it. So, yeah. His Quincy Cross, with it being his Fullbring, it basically would unlock every single Quincy ability, except for, like, the Sternmitter stuff, like, oh, the Arrow, or Blue Unhobbin. He can do that kind of stuff effortlessly, without even needing to actually, like, flex his power. He literally just uses his Fullbring, and it can unlock every Quincy ability, on top of also administering Quincy, Shinigami, or Hollow attacks. So basically just the attack of all races is in his hand. So, yeah. But eventually we do see Rukia arrive in the human realm, and she'd be fighting a Hollow. The Hollow is wounding her, and she tries to, escape it. Ichigo would just appear behind her, tell her, you can go wait inside. My dad's in there too. He can see ghosts, or he can kind of see you. As Ichigo would literally just flex his Reishi or Reiatsu, and the Hollow would kind of be crushed down, and Ichigo would just, tap it with his Zanpakuto. I think it's known as Zanpakuto in every form, but his Zanpakuto can't be seen unless you can see, spirits. Rukia ran inside. Ishin came to see her now as Ichigo's Reishi or Reiatsu had kind of rubbed off on Ishin and his sisters. So they can actually they can fully see ghosts and shit like that because they've been exposed to such intense Reishi 24/7. So, yeah. By the way, his sisters are not like, oh, we're Shinigami too. Like, they've trained to fight off Hollows, but they can, like, anything above a base Hollow, they cannot fight off. Like, they're about as strong as, hold up, let me find someone real quick. Like, I compared them to maybe Omaida, and even then, that's like, oh yeah, they're lieutenant level. Omaida is the shittiest lieutenant in the entire series. Like, 3 or 4 lieutenants have Bankai, Omaida has an easily breakable Zanpakuto. He should not be a lieutenant, he should be like a 4th seat. So, yeah, they're about that strong, it's like a 4th seat, basically. Well, Ichigo can clear every captain he wants to in a matter of, 5 minutes. But, yeah. I mean, every captain, like every division captain, he can clear by himself. Yeah, that includes Aizen and Yamamoto. He's a transcendent being without really much effort, and he knows that. But eventually him and Rukia talk. Rukia would talk about how, oh yeah, she's here to, they have a little disruption for you, so they kind of left the realm alone, but they think the disruption's gone. And Ichigo explains, how the realm kind of shook a little bit. Yeah, how do you know that? He's like, yeah, I'm the one who shook it. I was born, and that kind of destabilized us for a bit. I stabilize it now. So Rukia realizes he's the one who stabilizes this entire dimension. He's entirely shocked, and Ichigo kind of explained to her, what he does, how he does shit, etc. I realize I've got to include hell in the realms around, but yeah, Ichigo doesn't know that exists. But just here's more about his transformations. He basically has his Zanpakuto constantly in Bankai because it does not drain him whatsoever. His Zanpakuto, he's in Bankai 24/7. The moment he enters his Shinigami form, Bankai off the bat. Because his body is so used to being in Bankai, it's a reflex. And the thing is, even in Bankai, is how he clears every captain. Shikai is basically where he can stalemate every captain all at once, even if they were to jump him. In his base form, he can clear most captains, but I think characters like Yamamoto and Bankai or full power Aizen would be where he would struggle in base. But even then, he would not struggle much. He'd probably still extreme diff them both. And Bankai is just where he can kind of clear everyone he wants to with no difficulty, except for maybe Yuha the Soul King. Even then, it'd be a pretty close fight. But yeah, he talks to Rukia, he even talks about how, I've achieved Bankai, etc. He even mentions, his Quincy abilities, how he has basically all Quincy abilities in his hand, but also he mentions his Hollow abilities, as he shows off his mask, but also mentions his other transformation he can't really use here because it might kind of vaporize the entire country. He had to do it in a whole other dimension, where even then it caused a lot of chaos, because he birthed new Hollows with his presence alone. And that transformation is his Vessel Lorde form, but Vessel Lorde is basically what he is with a mask, and he basically transcends every being in Vessel Lorde form. That his form is stronger than his current Bankai, and he knows that. But him and Rukia talk for a bit, they get to know each other, and she volunteers to, teach her Shikai. She agrees, as Ichigo's probably the most skilled character in this, not probably the most skilled, but one of, he's, every skill a Shinigami knows is, an essential, he knows, and he's a master of it. There's definitely better masters, but he is top of the line. Like Shunpo. The person probably better than him might only be Yoruichi and Yamamoto, and that's because they're old as shit, or, Yoruichi invented it, Yamamoto's old as shit, so, yeah. But yeah, the only two people who are better than him are the inventor and someone who's just really experienced. Or then with Hakuda. Literally, it's just the same thing. Experience, and that's about it. Like Yoruichi, experience. Uruhara, experience. Tessai, experience. But even then, he can contend them all pretty well. And then, what else? Keto. He does have that, he just not need to use it unless it's healing Keto, which even then he does use it on his friends sometimes. By the way, he's homeschooled. He cannot risk being in school because if it's stressed out, he might blow up things. So, yeah. But for them to start substitution Gami arc, that's not really an arc. It's basically the Rukia help arc, where basically you just train her to use Shikai. Then the arc, Renji and Byakuya would arrive, and she's willing to go back. She explained she stayed here to train. Not lies, but well, kind of. But I mention, Chad, all of Ichigo's friends who are around him 27 being Chad, Tatsuki, all them, they've all awakened the ability to see Shinigami and shit like that. They're not really competent. Chad's a competent fighter. He's the best fighter out of them all, aside from Tatsuki. And that's mainly because she has skill over Chad, but even then physically, he'd dominate her easily. But yeah, Chad, Tatsuki are the only competent fighters out of the entire group, and they can pretty easily stalemate Hollows. They're stronger than Ichigo's sisters, who are supposedly around lieutenant level, that being basically around Omaida, who's probably about 3rd or 4th seat level. I am fully confident in the fact that, Soifon is one of the weaker divisions, except for herself. I am fully confident in that statement. But, yeah. But, we basically have Rukia saying she's ready to return, saying, oh yeah, I trained her to Urahara, as she did, she met him, but Ichigo's the one who trained her. Urahara gave them the area to train. And to her power, she did fight a lot of hollows in Huecamundo. Ichigo did bring her there, because her and Urahara have a portal to Cereate and Huecamundo. Now, she is actually in trouble with Urahara, and she's not like, oh, you're going to be executed, from the fact that, you're going to be imprisoned for for 60 years for associating with a traitor. Now, she does disagree to that, trying to fight Renji, and she does beat him, because he wasn't ready for her to be that strong. Now, her brother just beat her, but as soon as she threw things over their shoulder, they go through the portal, and she would see Ichigo watching in the distance. He gives her a nod and turns around. That's kind of the sign saying, give me some time. I'm gonna go get you. He'd recruit some friends, being Uryu, who Uryu at this point is much stronger than at any other point in the story. Only version of Uryu that can beat this version at this point is probably the one who was the antithesis, and that's about it. So, yeah. So, Uryu would arrive, being ready for a fight. Chad would as well, having both of his arms already, the shield, the punch, all that. He has both of those. And Orihime doesn't train as often, but she does still have her Shunshin Rika. Well, then Tatsuki is just going to put in charge of clearing out hollows, same for Ishin and Ichigo's sisters. So they go downstairs, they actually wait like 2-3 days, so Rukia's actually put in a prison cell, and then they open the portal. It would be more easy to find someone actually in a prison cell, not in the process of being moved around. So, yeah. Then they go through, and Ichigo's with them, telling them, you should all sneak in. By the way, Ichigo, you have to kind of low Reishi. Because the Soul King is still stabilizing this dimension. I can tell you left ours behind because you were there. He's probably going to focus on that now. Well, he's dividing his attention, keep your Reishi low, but still try to stabilize us, because a whole other god is kind of transferring areas. Be careful. So in this one, they actually do plan on in full society, not just going to the front gate. If even they wanted to, you can kind of just poke the gate guard and send them flying hundreds of miles away. But with this, Ichigo would kind of just find, around the wall, maybe probably by Kukaku's house. And she's like, oh, I'll use a cannon. He says, too loud. So he walks up to, the barrier, keeping them separated, like society and all that. He'll just push on it, creating a small hole, and then knocking down a bit of it as they just walk through that. Which is that easy, because Ichigo is physically a complete monster. Although their monster doesn't contend him physically is Kenpachi. Even then, that's Ichigo still holding back, because he has a lot of transformations. Although Ichigo is here in his base state, not even transformed, which, yeah, he can fight them in that form, but it's not really as efficient, because he's very much restrained. So, yeah. But he tells his friends, we shall split up. I have faith that you all can handle yourselves, or he may. Not you. Yorichi stay with her. So this goes on to Yorichi and Orihime separating from everyone else to go find Rukia, and Uryu and Chad can go on their own. Now, Chad by no means is captain level, but he can definitely hold his own against a majority of characters, aside from the top characters we all agree, we agree with the top characters. If Chad were to fight someone let's say, hold up, let me see. Let's say he fights Toshiro, base Toshiro, it'd be a good fight. Chad's physicality is just off the charts, so it's hard to keep up with him sometimes. Or let's say Ukitake. Base Ukitake would struggle. So, yeah, kind of like that stuff, basically. Or Tosen, yeah. But they go on. Each of those kind of just wandering around, and eventually would just transform, you see him walk by a pole. Other side of the pole, he comes out of the other side of the pole, and he's already transformed. He does come across, the 11th Division, because he does not look like a traditional Shinigami. His clothes are basically what you see on the thumbnail right here. And they demand, oh, are you the one who broke the wall? Ichigo simply says, what are you going to do if I am? Immediately we see Kaku trying to, punch Ichigo in the face. Then what he does, he feels his hand break. You're back holding his hand, that actually has bones sticking out of it from how hard he hit Ichigo, and it hurts really badly. When Ichigo would appear in front of him, grab him by the face, and usually use him as kind of a battering ram through the entirety of the 11th Division. So, while Ichigo handles them, move on to Chad, who is still find Shunsui and the Now. When Shunsui goes in to flick Chad, for that, just a quick knockout. Chad actually grabs his hand and throw him to the side, telling him you need more than a flick to handle me. Shunsui goes in for, a bit faster, going in for another flick, because he knows he doesn't even take out Chad, but he's not fully on guard. He knows Chad is weaker than him, but he wants to, gauge where he's at. But the thing is, Chad would immediately just yell El Diablo, punch Shunsui in the face, and send him flying back. Then I was surprised when he used a Keto Blast and tried to use his shield, and then jump in the air, or grab her, throw a Shunsui, and then keep running. Now, when I does realize that Shunsui had blocked the attack, it was just on surprise that his hand was kind of shaking around how hard Chad had hit him. He had blocked it pretty easily, but it was still kind of shocking. Uryu, he's fighting Nemu and Mayuri. Now, mainly first fight is Nemu, and when it comes to him versus her, it's a pretty easy fight in his opinion. It wasn't really a hard fight. He's not more skilled, or actually he's still lacking in physicality, but his AP, his techniques, will all surpass anything she could do, and he does beat her. Mayuri busts out Bankai, it's a pretty good fight, and Uri has to test to retreat because Mayuri's batshit crazy and it scares him. Eventually we do see Orihime and Hiroichi arrive, saving him and beating down on Mayuri, who's already kind of weakened. So Mayuri is defeated, so it's Nemu. Next up, basically be that's kind of it. I'm going to go on to Ichigo, who would find the prison, and it comes down to him versus Renji. Renji goes in to slash Ichigo, and on his slash lands, his Zanpakuto breaks on Ichigo. And Ichigo's leader says, "You all should quit hitting me, you're going to hurt yourselves." As with a quick chop to the neck, he knocks out Renji. It was just that easy. And as he walks, he's then confronted by Byakuya and Kenpachi. As Ichigo thought he was keeping it low-key on his Reishi, but it's still a lot of Reishi. You can still track him. And Ichigo's leader says, "I thought I was being quieter," as both his fighters charge him. So immediately he punches Byakuya right in the chest, almost caving it in, as he's still holding back. He doesn't want to kill him. But Byakuya would cough up blood, falling backwards. And Kenpachi already seeing that would immediately unleash a lot of power. But his Zanpakuto grabbed by Ichigo, he yanks away from him, and he's kicked clean through the building. This leads to a fight between Ichigo and Kenpachi. And as they fight, it basically ends up in kind of just Ichigo kind of having fun in the fight, as Kenpachi's the only one who's physically contending him. Ichigo's kind of just slashing randomly. Kenpachi is punching randomly. But Ichigo drops Kenpachi's Zanpakuto and yells, let's just hit each other. And by the time Byakuya would sit up, looking up, he just sees blood all over the place, and Ichigo and Kenpachi's faces are just completely and utterly battered. Ichigo's healing, but Kenpachi isn't. Kenpachi's point is basically to unleash every ounce of power he had. He's going all out, minus Shikai and Bankai. Physically, his body cannot get much stronger from what he is doing right at this moment. But Ichigo would land the final punch and knocks out Kenpachi. Ichigo would grab his Zanpakuto, actually stabbing it into Kenpachi's hand, pinning him down, and simply was telling him, "Listen to your sword, and maybe next time, it'll be a good fight for me." And before Kenpachi fully passes out, he just realizes he didn't push Ichigo at all. Ichigo was bored with him. Now, next up we do see Byakuya try to recover, trying to even go Senbon Zakura Kageyoshi. He uses that, Ichigo would wave his hand, and the entirety of the Bankai is destroyed. He can just wave his hand, and he can do that. He's a transcendent being. He is... Currently, there are 3 gods in this verse. Soul King, Yuha, Ichigo. Ichigo can contend them both pretty handily. Only thing that, what do you mean? He was just going below Kenpachi. I just said Kenpachi did not push him very well. Ichigo can heal, he's durable, and physically, his only rival is Kenpachi. Ichigo doesn't really work out in his physical body. He does martial arts, and there was a workout. He doesn't really try weightlifting. He literally is karate, I got that. He'll do that. He doesn't really try to actually train his body. By base, this is what he can just do 24/7. But he does go inside to, the prison, free Rukia, and to get his Zanpakuto back. Be sure to just tell her, stay behind him, and meditate. Hopefully you'll learn Bankai, because I don't feel like fighting this much. As he looks outside, seeing basically the entirety of every single courtyard division, as then Yoruichi, Orihime, Chad, and Uryu are all outside. Now we do see Unohana killing Kenpachi, and he's kind of just crying. But he's happy and sad, but he's crying, saying, "I went all out, and to no avail. I unleashed all my power, and I still lost." As she was making him cry, he's like, "That's so depressing, but I'm so excited." He stands up, grabbing Sanpakuto, and kind of confused on what Ichigo meant by, listening to it. But for his drive to power, knows Rashi take advantage of that, and tell Kenpachi, stay back. Hachi's confused, but, the one guy who beat him told him, listen to your sword, so he sits down and just says, "My sword told me to not fight." So he just sits down and watches. Unohana, being actually excited now because someone beat Kenpachi, would jump in, touching Ichigo first. But with a quick chop, so fast she can even process it, she's knocked out as well. Now, Yamamoto would arrive asking me, Ichigo, what do you think you're doing here? And he says, "I'm getting my friend out. Urahara didn't train her, I did." When Freya was rising, she lied to protect Ichigo. She was hiding him. She's hiding his existence, so they didn't come after him. And he asked Ichigo, your Shinigami attire is unique. What, who's your parent? Who's your father? Ichigo says his father is Isshin Shiba, his mother is Masaki Kurosaki. And he explains how his mother's a Quincy, his father is a Shinigami. This does surprise them all, so he mentions, and his mother attacked by a Hollow, so he unlocked Hollow abilities on top of another whole species of abilities. So, they basically use every kind of ability or attack they can think of. Yamamoto actually got ready for all that fight now. Something telling him, back up, this is going to be a hard fight. Ichigo holds up his hand, completely saying, "Can I go home now? I have no interest in fighting any of you. It wouldn't be fun." Yamamoto would jump at Ichigo, slashing at him, kind of just yelling, Zonko no touch. And when he even finished saying, Tachi, he's just punching the face and flying back. He tries to cover, facing a knee to the face, and basically everyone would watch Ichigo dog Yamamoto. Ichigo's too fast. Physically, Yamamoto's like, alright, I can put up with his strength, but his attack speed is something that I cannot keep up with. I'm too old to keep up with his attack speed. Actually, does lead to Yamamoto being beaten into the dirt because he just cannot react to Ichigo. Yamamoto would pass out, and everyone's honestly just completely utterly shocked. As from above, they see a portal open up, and Urahara pokes his head in, demanding them to come back, saying, "You users are taking too long. It shouldn't take this long. Get up here already." What do you mean? When he's touching Rukia to get up there, Chad would jump up, and so does Rukia and Uryu. But he just tells all of them, if they want a good fight, he's definitely more willing to come here and fight them, because Kenpachi's kind of fun. He's going to just nudge the one guy who's just not fighting anymore. And simply like a little, just tiniest of a hop, he created a giant crater and was already back in the human realm. Now, with this, she does lead to Rukia staying in the human realm, and Ichigo continues to train her. In this of all the chaos, though, Aizen and Tosen and Gin all left, so you didn't really need to fake his death. Ichigo was distraction enough. But more time would eventually pass until we get to Yami and Ulquiorra. During this time, Ichigo had kind of established a small relationship with Yamamoto, who actually invited Ichigo back to train with him, just to actually see how strong Ichigo is in terms of sword skill. In terms of sword skill, Ichigo is definitely really good. Yamamoto's better because he's old as shit, but Ichigo is definitely a pretty competent opponent to him. Rukia was let back in open arms, and the vice kind of explained, Aizen was the one who did this to us, not Urahara. Eventually, everyone's let back into society when they were banished, and they get their positions back early on, mainly because Ichigo has a relationship with them, and they want a relationship with Ichigo. So, yeah. But yeah, so Yami and Ulquiorra. So, when those two would arrive, this was lead to Chad and Orihime fighting them, but when Chad actually would punch at Yami did block it, but actually admits, my bone is kind of, I felt it crack. But he's able to quickly just bash Chad into the ground not long after that, simply saying, "Oh yeah, you were pretty strong, but not strong enough, so you suck." But when Ichigo does arrive, Ulquiorra and Yami expected it was going to be a hard fight. Ichigo would hold up one finger, say "Sero," and basically would erase Yami from existence. Ulquiorra's jaw was on the floor until he's punched, and then his jaw is put back in his mouth and launched into his upper skull. Ulquiorra falls back, dying, quickly opening a portal, falling through, and immediately people would rush to resurrect Ulquiorra because he's a top 4, they can't replace him that easily. He almost died, but he had quick thinking. Orihime is still captured, and Ichigo's definitely gonna go on a warpath over Orihime. Before Grimmjow can even get into the dimension, the giant portal would open up, and Ichigo would fall from the sky, demanding where's Orihime? Like, I was probably saying, like an hour after he realizes Orihime is missing, he is in Huecamundo, and it's literally just him, which Aizen did not expect. He is not aware of what Ichigo and Aizen do. He's not aware that Ichigo's mind is likely on par with his, if not even farther ahead. So Ichigo will fall to the sky, and at this point, it's basically every single member of the Espada, every single one of their lackeys. Well, actually, not every single Espada. They're missing Yami. Basically, every Espada but Yami, every single one of their henchmen. Basically, every single opponent that was in fake Karakura Town and Huecamundo arc. They're all here right now with Ichigo. So he would aim just like Quincy bow at the entire base of the Espada, but then his Quincy bow would turn black with a bit of red flames, and then he would fire the one arrow, basically blowing apart the entirety of the base. Kind of looks like a nuke went off. All the Espada would jump out, wondering how Ichigo did that. Thing is, this basically killed everyone above Grimmjow in terms of rank. So the 3 people who are above him are all just kind of dead now. Grimmjow had gone all out pretty quickly, so his durability was enhanced at the last minute. But he is still pretty badly burned. Like he's missing an arm and everything. But he already knew Orihime was able to block that because her Shinsen Rika is pretty durable. She had barely blocked it, but she was fine. Even like, she probably couldn't have survived with Shinsen Rika. Aizen definitely could have gotten out of there, so I'm pretty sure he would have taken her with him because he still needs her. So yeah, Gin, Aizen, or Toten, or Stark, or Hardybell would have gotten Orihime out of there because they need her for their plans. But this does lead to all these Espada committing Ichigo, and the first one to attack is probably going to be Grimmjow, who's just pretty pissed off. We then see another portal open up once more, and from above we see Kenpachi land right on Grimmjow. Ichigo would ask why Kenpachi's here, and he simply just says he's listening to Zanpakuto, and Zanpakuto said fight. So I went to see Urahara wanting to fight you. And I got told you were here, so here I am. And we see Kenpachi Zanpakuto actually in the shape of an axe. He unlocked his Shikai much earlier on. You guys are wondering, why is he going through this earlier? Yeah, told to do something with the strongest guy he's ever met. He's going to listen to the strongest guy he's ever met. Because he wants to fight him and become the strongest he's ever met. Become stronger than the strongest guy he's ever met. But Kenpachi is pointing wondering, did he kill Unohana? No, he's literally just listening to Zanpakuto and he unlocked it, coincidentally. So Kenpachi would use the battle axe to cut down anyone who got in his way. His impact alone will kind of knock out Grimmjow, so he's not dead, he's asleep. But, yeah. We see no one should jump in and attack Kenpachi, only to be cut in half, and just him, not even cut him, he would just lifted up his axe, it fell over, and then which was in half. We see spot number 4, Ulquiorra, go all out, and even his second resurrection. Ichigo will go into his Fastlorde form, and the entire dimension is shaking. In fact, all 3 realms are shaking. He holds out one hand, and his arrow is so big the point where basically would evaporate a good portion of Huecamundo. And simply just says, "Your resurrection, it was cute." Everyone's stepping back. Even Aizen, he's evolving forcefully because he wants to. He can't explain it. He doesn't want to be stronger than Ichigo, but he wants power. His definition of power is Ichigo right now. So, we should pause real quick. Yeah, sorry, the TV show in the background got boring, so I just turned on Hajime no Ippo. Alright, I'm back. Ichigo's basically Aizen's definition of power. Like, Aizen does not know who is stronger than Ichigo, except for maybe the Soul King. But Aizen's like, oh yeah, I want to be the Soul King. He wouldn't know how strong the Soul King is. So his idea of power, Ichigo. To him, Ichigo is the new Soul King with how strong he is. Like his Lord destabilized all 3 realms, and he quickly had to control himself to control or sustain all 3. And hell. But, yeah. But this does lead to Aizen quickly evolving forcefully until we see him going into, kind of like his butterfly mode first, and that's all he could take at the very moment of what's happening all at once. When Ichigo just saw this happening, he would appear right in front of Aizen, grab him by the face, and then slam it into the ground as hard as he possibly can. At this point, Kenpachi's fighting all the rest of the Espada, and Stark is fighting back, but it's not helpful whatsoever. Stark is kind of just losing. Now, then he's alone that to tell Stark, I don't want you to die. Please just stop. As Lynette can see, Stark's going to die in this fight. He's losing. He's being wounded horribly. Stark's like, these are our friends. I can't be alone. I need to fight so they don't die. And she simply says, Grimdar's alive. He's asleep. Well, not asleep. He's knocked out, but just say, take a dive, get knocked out. When you wake up, some of us will be here. I know it. Well, Stark would kind of accept it, taking a hit from Kenpachi, not being knocked out, because Kenpachi's kind of swinging around randomly. They're trying to go all out. He shows how weak these guys are. He does underrate some durability. So characters like Hollybell and Stark, they get knocked out just from the hit. But characters like Baragon are going all out, and he just gets cut in half because Kenpachi values his power. By the end of it, only 3 Espada who are left are Grimjow, Stark, Hollybell. Those are 3 who are alive now. And Neliel, but she's just kind of watching from a distance as a child with Pesce and Donchaka. But yeah, so Aizen's fighting Ichigo with Gin and Tokusen trying to jump in. But Ichigo actually kind of sends this thing to blast his finger at Tokusen, and it blasts the hole through him. Point where he had to fortunately go into his whole giant not blind, but now singing, holification thing. But that actually leaves Kenpachi to be in the fight. And now Gin was like, alright, this kind of pointless, I'm just going to admit it. I'm an ally, I'm trying to spy on Aizen, hoping to kill him when he's off guard. So they believe that, and as Aizen's kind of just struggling into Ichigo's grasp, Aizen's evolving, getting stronger. Ichigo's strength seems kind of evolving to hold down Aizen. If he let Gin have an idea, he would basically go into his, kind of push his Zanpakuto against Aizen's, kind of where the Hokokyu is on his body, or fused to him. It was actually his Bankai kind of evaporating the entire portion of his body, and she doesn't kill him, but Aizen just kind of devolves back to his base state and passes out. So Aizen's defeated right then and there, and it's 20 minutes into the Wakamundo arc. This has been probably 2 episodes, or maybe a few chapters in the manga, less than 10 chapters in the manga. So yeah, that's just how quick this fight is for the story. Because Ichigo is just that guy. He is that strong. So with this, he would basically thank Gin for helping, but he says, he didn't really need it. He's kind of just he didn't kill Aizen on purpose, but at least Aizen's knocked out and kind of crippled now. But soon all the Gotei 13 would arrive, or the remainder of them would arrive. At this point, they see Tokusen's basically being beaten up by Kenpachi. He reverted back to his base form, and he's just being punched in the face by Kenpachi. Tells him, hey, transform again. You're going to be a good fight. Get up again. Komaru grabbed Kenpachi's fist, throwing him to the side, saying, back off. But when he did grab Kenpachi, he couldn't move him. He tried to throw him to the side, he just wouldn't budge. So this kind of led to Komaru backing down, but he took Tokusen with him. A few days pass, and there's a whole trial for Tokusen, Gin, and Aizen. Aizen is the same 20,000 years. Tokusen is basically on life support at this point, so he's put in a prison hospital. But same sentence as Aizen, or probably not same sentence, but probably around 8,000 years. Gin was for a good cause, and he's the one who knocked out Aizen, actually allowed them to detain him. Tokusen is a few hundred years. So, yeah. And Ichigo kind of just is given a big thank you. But as he's leaving the trial, he reverts back into his human form, human clothes and all. But then suddenly the Zero Division would have crashed down right in front of Ichigo. He's saying, you were the guys in the sky. I sensed you, but you're kind of too far away for me to tell how strong you were. The Zero Division does their usual welcome for Ichigo, and they're coming down mainly just to talk to Ichigo specifically, because he destabilized 3 entire realms accidentally. And kind of erased a portion of one, being Wakamundo, but. But Ichigo should bring him up to I forgot the entire name of where they were. Hold up. Oh yeah, he just is brought to the Soul Palace. Now there is actually where he does see the Soul King for the first time, and here she does kind of say, up close, he's kind of weak, but still kind of commanding somehow. And he's going to laugh, saying, I think he's weak because you evolved in your fight with Aizen. This confuses Ichigo. He simply just says, Ichigo's like, yeah, at first when he sensed you at your birth, but for like a few years after that, you were relative to him, if not a tad bit weaker. If about Aizen, you shouldn't have been able to hold him down. He should have grown past your strength. That's how the Hokugyu worked. He wanted you to let go of him. He should have gotten strong enough to make you let go of him. But your body, it evolved to fight. Your body evolved so your enemy could not beat you or best you in any way. Even if it's just something that's just getting your hand off them, your body refuses to let you lose that tiny fight. As we should realize is someone he's faced with a tiny challenge, his body made sure, even though the thing is like, oh, there's an ant in my way, his body would probably make sure he can't be stung by ants, or that he could just cleanly walk over entire ant hills. That'd be easy, but it's like, oh, I walk over it, no struggle. His body would change it so that everything in existence is in Ichigo's favor if it challenges him. So they actually wanted to make the Zero Division challenge Ichigo. They wanted to see how well he'll hold up in a fight. He would ask why, and they simply just say, we might need a new sulking one day, and we need to make sure you're up for that task. Ichigo kind of decides they'll charge Ichigo at full force. He just simply glare at them with Reishi imbued. That actually would kill about 3 of them. Like, I would go, I don't know, there's only 5 of them, I think, hold up. Yeah, basically him flexing his Reishi had killed Tenjiro, Kiryu, and Senjumaru, basically leaving Ichibei, Oetsu, and leaving Oetsu and Ichibei. But even then, Oetsu's like bleeding from his eyes, his nose, and his ears, while Ichibei was just sweating and bleeding from his nose. Oetsu tried to cut Ichigo using, like the blood that cuts through everything, but all Ichigo had was the tiniest little cut, and even then it healed instantaneously. Oetsu went in for another cut, went for Ichigo to just grab the blade, and give Oetsu's hand, and then cut Oetsu in half with the blade. Immediately Ichigo just yelled their names, and when they came back, Ichigo just used kind of spin with one slash and cut everyone in half again, killing them. And included Ichibei. He had died too. Ichigo had heard how Ichibei resurrected them by just saying their names, so he did the same thing. They come back to life, and they all can understand that Ichigo kind of just no-diff them with pretty much no effort. Like, Ichibei even demanded, let's go again, all of us in Bankai versus you in Bankai. He's like, alright, got it. They'll go to Bankai. Ichigo, it's a much harder fight, but Ichigo actually wins this fight. Somehow. They don't know how he did, but he won. They go for various fights. Let's say, you in base versus all of us in base. Pretty hard fight. He beat a majority of them, but Ichibei and Oetsu had gotten the best of them. Or then Shikai versus all of us in Shikai. Same thing. Oetsu and Ichibei had beaten him, but he still beat the remainder of the Zero Division. If he goes anything above Bankai, they can't contend him. He is simply just too strong. So with this, it basically ends up in them actually asking him to join the Zero Division. But he actually doesn't mention decline, saying yeah, I'm sorry, but does that mean staying up here? It's a no. No, we actually want you to survey all the realms. All of them. We want you to be the one who basically is the first line of defense. And that basically keeps every other realm safe, because they won't need to fight you. And they even say, you can pick your own servants if you want to. Got it. So each is given basically a Zero Division symbol on his back, and then he proceeds to basically jump down back to Land of Living. As he jumps down, he just starts realizing he has evolved. As his cloak, he seems to move on its own, kind of like flames, but used to be a normal jacket, but now it kind of looks like it's its own sentient thing. Now he realizes his cloak is expanding. As he thinks about it, he's like, oh, my cloak's getting bigger, and then it gets smaller. He looks kind of moving around, very similar to how when Yuha had Soul King, he had that entirely black aura around him, all that reishi. Ichigo's cloak is made of that now after his fight with Aizen. In his Bankai, of course, but yeah. So Ichigo would tell Yamamoto what the service wanted with him, and that Ichigo does surprise Yamamoto. With this, Heishi does think about recruiting Aizen because he's powerful, but he does realize Aizen probably is just going to get mad that Ichigo's working for the Soul King. But Aizen has another idea. He puts Aizen in his prison cell, and asks Ichigo, what do you want? I've been here for a day, and you really want to see me, or come see me. She was like, yeah, but with the Zero Division, and they want me to replace the Soul King. At least at some point they do. And she does surprise. Aizen says, they want you to be the Soul King. He's like, yeah. They think, wouldn't there be trouble because you're a living sentient creature? He's like, it'd be kind of troublesome, but I'm kind of curious. I'm curious about the job. He explains something like, they want me to basically be the last line of defense until they need me to release the Soul King, which I'm pretty sure they can't kill me, But in case they do try to, replace him with my corpse, I can use someone to make sure a dead body doesn't rule the realms. Aizen kind of smirks knowing Ichigo's playing with him, but honestly, it doesn't sound too bad. So he agrees to be on Ichigo's side. Well, he's still bindable, but he does able to actually just get up pretty quickly. And Ichigo actually would stab his own through Aizen's chest, which just confuses him when he thinks Ichigo's trying to kill him. But Ichigo just simply put some of Reishi in Aizen, boosting Aizen to how strong he is towards the end of Bleach, which he does surprise Aizen greatly. Now, Gin, he does think Gin could be a good asset, but honestly, he's kind of too weak now for Aizen, and he can't give away all this Reishi. That'd be too much. His next stop is Kenpachi. At this point, Yachiyo had already vanished because Kenpachi is still training. But when Kenpachi would, overhear, it's not over here, but when Ichigo tells him, what he wants Kenpachi to do, Kenpachi simply just says, so, you want the strongest, not the strongest captain, but someone who can't be beaten to be in the squad meant to be the first line of defense for the Soul Society. Sounds good. I'll join. At this point, Yachiyo's gone. Kenpachi's trying to learn how to use Bankai, etc. So Kenpachi would join Ichigo's division. At the point where Ichigo ends up recruiting all war powers except for Ichibei. Even Orohara's in the squad, all that. If anything, I can actually see him probably recruiting Yoruichi as well, just because diversity reasons. But eventually he would step into Mundo once more, just being in patrol a few weeks later, and he just started actually bringing Grimmjow and Neliel, who actually not gotten their memories back, but everyone learned who she was. So he would give her some of his Reishi, she gets her full power back. And in fact, she had actually gotten strong enough to use a second, Resurrection. Grimmjow saying that she wanted Ichigo's power too, so Ichigo gave him a bit of Reishi, second Resurrection as well. And then he eventually to the point where he kind of recruited everyone who was alive except for Holly Bell, who just declined. And then this does lead to him trying to recruit Chad and Orihime, who just say no because they have lives in the human realm. Ichigo does too, but he's also homeschooled, so his life is not really similar to theirs. Alright, fast forward a year kind of. Alright, we get on to when it comes to Ginjo trying to, recruit Ichigo to be a Fullbring. It's like Chad, who's so strong as a Fullbring to the point where, only stronger than him is Ginjo, and even then, Ginjo's not sure he can confidently beat Chad. Which is just going to scare him a little bit. Orihime at this point had also gotten a lot stronger. She still train a lot, and Chad trains a lot as well, and she trains up training with Chad, so... But when Ginjo does try to recruit Ichigo's home for once, eating dinner with his family. Outside, he sees Tsukishima and Ginjo. Now, Ginjo already knows something easy to recruit Ichigo, so he tries to basically use Tsukishima trying to ambush him to, replace him in his memories. But Ichigo, since we see Tsukishima moving in slow motion, basically. You just take one step, grab Tsukishima by the neck, and kind of just almost begin to crush it, basically. Ginjo holds his hands up, asking to not kill Tsukishima, and explains what they're trying to do, everything. Ichigo can tell they're lying, as he basically would just flex his ratio a little bit, and all the squad would get in front of him, and so he tells Aizen, control him. Aizen would immediately use Kyokotsu and begins kind of manipulating Ginjo to tell him everything. Ginjo breaks about his entire plan, and immediately Aizen realizes Ginjo kind of fucked with. He's like, Ukitake wouldn't do this shit to you. He was like, oh, well, it had to be him. It was him. I know it. Immediately, Ichigo would literally just say, Urahara, phone, please. Urahara pulls out a phone, Ichigo takes it, and calls Ukitake. As yes, at this point, there'd be phones, because Ichigo and Urahara are basically similar in intelligence, but then now Aizen's on the squad. So, everything we see in the future of, when Ichigo's 27, and all the advancements that Urahara brought to the Soul Society, Ichigo and him brought those on in this 1 year with Aizen's help. So, it was a pretty fun thing. But this does lead to Ichigo talking to Ukitake, and they get to learn everything about what happened between Ginjo and him. They realize there's a whole other third party involved. Only third party they can actually think about might be a noble, because that's kind of the only kind of person who's smart enough and can even do that. That's not one of Ukitake's allies, technically. It leads to investigation in Tokunada by Aizen, because Aizen's the one who's doing it, because it's kind of there's other species trying to fight Shinigami, and it's not good. So Aizen, when investigating it, eventually would find Tokinada, because Tokinada is the villain in the Can't Fear Your Own World novels. But Aizen puts a stop to Tokinada pretty quickly after just using Tokusuigetsu and controlling him. And pretty quickly he kills Tokinada. He has really just his one job is to ensure no wars between the realms, and that Ichigo becomes a Soul King without being a corpse. His little thing is that he does not want to rule on the Soul King, and he's a victor. He should speak of how the world should be. The victor is Ichigo. Ichigo's a victor. He's the one who should basically shape the world, and Aizen respects that. He kind of has no choice. He really learned how strong Ichigo gets. He's like, oh, so you're basically a Hogoku without having a Hogoku. Scary. Got it. So Aizen already knows beating Ichigo is technically impossible because they're both basically immortal gods. So. But yeah, so Aizen kind of just knowing his fate is going to be serving under Ichigo until Ichigo tells him not to. He kind of just is a loyalist now. But he ends up killing Tokinada pretty quickly after realizing, oh yeah, you'd be a threat, even if it's not like a realm level threat. You're a threat nonetheless to the guy I'm loyal to. So you need to be put in a pack. So he kills Tokinada. Kind of kills anyone who's an enemy in the Can't Fear Your Own World novels because they all kind of tie back to Tokinada. Also, he kind of did this for Tosen because he's aware of Tokinada's past with Tosen. But we keep going. So Ginjo's thing is satisfied. He became a Setsu Shinigami again because they actually kind of need one because Ichigo's not a Setsu Shinigami. He's an actual Shinigami. He's a member of the Zero Division, for God's sake. But this does lead to another whole time skip until we get to the Desert and Blood War. But it's not that she had their eyes on this realm the entire time, to the point where they have plans and they are prepping for this. Point where even Ryuken was invited to help prep to kill Yuha, and he agreed because avenge his wife. But by the time it comes down to your first attack on the Soul Society, pretty sure one of the fights. Actually, I'm not pretty sure I know the fights, but Ichigo's kind of watching because he was told to not intervene. But Kenpachi, everyone else, everyone in Ichigo's squad except for Ichigo himself would be allowed to intervene. But only Shinigami who were important here for the fights would be Kenpachi and I think it's just Kenpachi, honestly. So yeah, Aizen kind of was asked to be recruited. I can probably see him visiting Tosen, and then Yuha finds him, asks him to join. This leads to Aizen saying no, and then fight between him and base Yuha. For the fights that go on in Soul Society. First fight on the cover is Azanote versus Byakuya. Here actually we see a change in Byakuya's power. 1. His Zanbakuto was shattered. He's wondering, oh, how's it shattered? Ichigo waved his hand and destroyed his Bankai in their first actual fight. He kicked it in his chest and blew apart his Zanbakuto. Had to fix that pretty quickly. So his Zanbakuto is basically reshaped and stronger to the point when he fights Azanote, it's a stalemate. It's a draw. So when it comes Azanote almost kills Byakuya, Byakuya is dying, but he kills Azanote. So it's basically just who's going to die first. It's kind of just all it is who's going to die first. It was Azanote, he died first. Byakuya got help in time. That help being Renji, who also has a whole new Zanbakuto. And Byakuya and him kind of went through a process of so you start new Zanbakuto, so they train together. Byakuya and Renji at this point are kind of relative with how hard they're trying their new swords, because they got them at the same time. They're kind of relative, so yeah. And then what else? Kenpachi, who's down here. He's kind of checking in on his division, and as he's leaving, this does lead to Gin arriving, who turns out to be the new captain of these divisions. Because they're oh, why is he the captain? Giku threw a huge ass fit, and it led to a whole trial where Gin was freed. So yeah, Gin is the captain of the 11th division. The stern, not stern leader. The visors took over their old divisions. So yeah. And the 11th division doesn't have a leader anymore, so the new one was Gin. It was Itaku for a bit, but yeah. So Gin had turned out to be the fight where you see Kenpachi, 2 people on his back. Gin doesn't have that, but instead he has an entire about city block full of corpses being from a few Sternritter and a lot of just random Quincy's. As he had killed, more than two Sternritter, he killed like 5. He had the Roar guy in the question, but he also had fuck, what was the guy's name? Hold up. So he killed the question and the Roar, kind of like how Kenpachi did. But also he had killed Meninas, the power, but also the underbelly, Nanaka. Nanaka's like, why am I a weakness? King is aware of his own weaknesses to the point where when like Nanaka Charlie tries to attack said weaknesses, Gin's leader says, I planned for this and would just kill him the first time he tried to go in for a weakness. Like Gin basically blew apart the Saruman's upper half. The Menina tried to just go like blow for blow with him, and he would basically just break both of her arms and tear her in half. It was a pretty gruesome fight, but he did it in the matter of 30 seconds. So the Roar's whole thing is like, Roar. Gin like literally just blitzed him, shoved his mouth shut, and he basically roared his own head to pieces. I would ask the question. Does not work on Gin. Gin literally just blitzed and killed him. In Wakamundo, we have the jail. I forgot the pretty Kilgay Opie. Yeah, Kilgay fights Hardy Bell. She's probably as strong as she is canonically. But Stark's lack of friends in the Ichigo squad kind of makes him visit Hardy Bell a lot. So when it does come down to like Stark being there, when it comes down to Hardy Bell versus Kilgay, and then we have Anon, I forgot the giant monster's name. The moment that Stark was there, he'd basically go into his second resurrection and basically just evaporate Kilgay because he blitzed him and killed him pretty quickly. He wasn't in the mood to make a fight last. He was in the mood to avenge his friend and free her from being imprisoned. So he killed Kilgay pretty quickly. He was going for the kill to begin with. He went all out, didn't give him a chance to come back from the fight, anything. Just killed him pretty quickly. Well, even Kilgay tried to absorb some of Stark's reishi. Stark is a hollow through and through, and a strong one at that. Like, Stark is two people kind of split up. Stark individually now has that power of when he was full, and then Lily has not Lily Barrow. Lynette has the same amount of power as Stark. He just chooses to serve him as his guns. Like, they're basically the king of the hollows, but Hardy Bell's the one who actually is in a throne. So Kilgay dies pretty quickly. Because Stark was not playing any games. He wanted that man on a t-shirt knowing he heard about Hardy Bell. And he got what he wanted. So I would say by the time it comes down to like in Soul Society, it comes down to like a fight between Aizen and Yuha, because he does still go like Aizen still goes see Tozen. Yuha tries to recruit him, and at least fight between the two. By the time Naruto finishes his fight with the not real Yuha, but with the clone Yuha, just on the ground, you hear a giant quake, and then bursting through it is Aizen and Yuha clashing. And as a fight, it doesn't seem like they're equal by any means, but it still seems like Aizen is putting up a great fight. And somebody says to Minamoto, recover. And soon Kenpachi would arrive to go help in this fight. And actually we see Kenpachi use a Bankai for the first time. As he had achieved it, he just does not use it. But now that he's using it, it doesn't lead to him and Aizen losing Yuha. And as he's told, Yamato went to recover, finding Unohana being healed, and then jumping in his Zanka no Tachi form. There's another argue that Yuha dies or was captured, but honestly, I'm in favor that he probably can find a way out of this by basically using the Sternritter he has in his shadow. So, I can basically see, at this point, he doesn't have, I'm going to say Uryu not being a Sternritter because he knows fighting Ichigo is just stupid. But he also has faith Ichigo could beat Yuha on his own. The point, Yuha probably has the antithesis, so if at any point when they're about to kill him, he probably would just use it and reverse it on both of them, if not killing them, but they'd definitely be down for the count. So by the time, the only reason he leaves is because Yamamoto restored his full power, and he had to leave because that would just be too inconvenient to deal with. But yeah, so Yuha almost lost on his first assault on the Soul Society. But Ichigo basically see what's happening in the Soul Society, and with his mastery of Kido, along with Tenjiro, he basically hold out with Zanpakuto, charge up the giant Kido blast, and Tenjiro would just enhance it with his own ability, and then he'd blast it down to this whole society, just basically healing everyone. Those who died, they get their pulse back, but they were still in critical condition. So everyone gets healed, but they're anticipating this attack either way, and honestly, it went well. Yuha almost died, save for the fact that I gave him blood armor. Now, for those who train with, Ichigo and all them, it's kind of just Byakuya and Renji. Rukia kind of did her own thing against, fodder, and that was it. She didn't really get too injured, because the one who injures her in the anime, I'm pretty sure, is Meninas. And Meninas got killed by Yin, pretty gruesomely. But when it comes down to the second assault, the second war, yeah, they're down a lot of Sternritter. But also, they already had a portal to Suicide Dimension, so they had time to literally just prep, and they were prepping. So with this, when they get to the second, the area for the second war, the Shadow Realm, the first person to fight there is going to be I would not be but Ikaku needs spotlight, so I'm going to basically send him versus the Superstar. Forgot his name. Hold on. Master Masculine. So Ikaku versus him. So Ikaku was briefly a captain. He had to achieve Bankai for that. This Bankai is going to actually be one that's going to be impressive now, as he's going to be oh yeah, I'll stockpile power. He basically had fought Master Masculine for a while, stockpiled enough power, and his Bankai or Bankai isn't damaged, so it's actually a lot more powerful from the cannon. Plus, he trained a lot harder to actually. He tried to overthrow Gin at some point to reclaim his title as captain for this one. So he's a lot stronger, actually, deserving of the title of captain. So when he fights against Master Masculine, he'll be using an attack that would basically kill him in one shot. But I didn't see Haku being battle smart enough to actually figure out how the ability works with Jonathan and all that. So Master's oh, I'm gonna go all out now. Haku already had a plan made to kill Jonathan, and he executed it pretty easily until he was able to kill Master Masculine. But it was basically probably the hardest fight of his life, the point where he's down an arm, down any ability to move. He is just too tired to even move anymore. So he won, but barely. As note, there's no round 2. He died. I said this before. He is dead. He is a corpse. He's in a pack. He is being smoked on by Byakuya. So next up, next fight I'm going to go into is probably going to be Candace Catnip versus Rukia for this one, because Rukia has no opponent for this one. Rukia at this point, she died earlier. She was training for Bankai with Ichigo. So at this point, I would see her when she fights against when she fights against Candace. Yeah, Candace can't really contend Rukia at all. It's maybe having the edge in strength, and that is it. Strength alone, maybe age. But Rukia has far better speed, durability, experience, technique, etc. Candace has maybe age and physical strength, and not by much for physical strength. So Rukia would basically use her Bankai, saying Bankai, going into it, and then it would disperse her Bankai, probably within a split second. But then Candace was completely just frozen solid, and Rukia would just flick her, and she was blown to pieces. They just just one snap, and immediately she killed Candace. It was just that easy for her. And then Giselle, the zombie bitch. It's a guy who dresses and joins up. I'm pretty sure Giselle isn't. It might be a trans thing, I'm not sure, but Giselle goes by she, her, so Giselle. She would basically fight against Yumachika still. Yumachika was recently vice captain, had to earn that power to become a vice captain, and then will basically also have to earn the title of being as strong as a third seat. When it comes to Giselle versus Yumachika had to get past the whole thing of, I hate how Zanpakuto looks. King forces him to overcome that too. He's forced you don't like how Zanpakuto looks? Tough shit. Fight. So Yumachika basically went all out to begin with, the point where they even used an unknown Bankai. That unknown Bankai killed Giselle, because Giselle wasn't expecting a third seat to have a Bankai. But Giselle was just caught off guard and died because of that. So there's really no Tosho zombie thing. It's really just you're just a random third seat. Oh, the Giselle thought that she was put in a pack. She joined Asnote. Then what else? I can probably see Basby, who's not on Yuha's side, or who's not against Yuha at this point, so they're gonna fight a bunch of random characters. But at this point, Yuha's fighting zero division, so Yamamoto, who's alive, is down here on the battleground. So he's pretty quickly able to just pretty easily disarm, in the literal sense, Basby. Over time, Yamamoto kind of told like Basby how he'd be discarded, all that. Like he talked Basby down while also maiming that man horribly. And Yamamoto's gonna just believe that they could just resist Yuha. So he told everyone, well, first, go into hiding. 2, there's no reason to serve him. You exist to die and make him stronger. What point does that serve? So the remaining Senator on the ground agreed to join the Soul Society. Well, then in the castle, we end up seeing, or in the Soul King Palace, we end up seeing Yuha and his guards. Now they do go in for slashes. Nianzal's wind is kind of a struggle. But we see Aizen up here and immediately basically just tries going on and try to slash at Yuha. Yuha goes just pretty easily, just thinking like, oh, the wand will take care of it. No, he slashed clean across the face. Yuha would jump back on his face, wondering how he got slashed. And you see Nianzal coming up, being confused. He looks around saying, Lord Yuha, and he walks towards Aizen. Yuha then quickly realized, Aizen kind of just reversed the perception of Nianzal's perception of who is Yuha. Nianzal got close enough, Aizen literally just tore his head off and threw it at Yuha, telling him, you should have some stronger-minded people, like smarter people. This is kind of just pointless now. But Yuha would just reach into his cloak and throw out Grammy's brain, that being, well, Grammy being the visionary. So when Grammy would take form, honestly, the moment he looked at Aizen just glared at him, and he just kind of fell to the ground. Aizen took down 2 Stormwinder one with just grabbing him by the face and tearing his head off. Other one, he glared at him, and that kind of just Sugetsu'd him. So yeah, so now Grammy doesn't really know how to move anymore. He kind of forgot how to do anything. All he can do is just look. He can't think, he can't speak, he can't do anything. He can just see. That is it. We'll see him breathe, but yeah. We see Lily Barrow jump up, but we see Shunsui also here. As he's the new division commander. Yamamoto kind of had a whole thing of being dishonored in his own opinion, so Shunsui's the new commander. Kind of just because Yamamoto stepped down, not because he died. So Shunsui would jump in, saying, "I'm the commander, so I'll take on at least one of these guys." Grabbing Lily Barrow and vanishing. But we actually do see that a few Sternader had not betrayed. Hold up real quick. The ones who haven't betrayed Yuha yet are basically Askin, Gerard, Pernida, Hugrum, and Pepe. Most of the 5 who have not betrayed Yuha or died yet. But on the ground we go back and we see Askin. And Askin has to fight Grimmjow, who is much stronger than Cannon. But also he's much smarter. If Ichigo gives you Reishi, you get aspect of his existence, and part of his existence as a war power is intelligence and wisdom. Point where like I would say that even if Urahara wasn't this fight, Urahara didn't even use Bankai to kill Askin. Pretty quickly, him or Grimmjow can deduct how to fight him and kill him. If Grimmjow can do it, bring him Neliel, who's 24/7 as strong as possible. So give him like maybe one person for backup, and that enough is able to kill Askin, because they're all smart enough to take down Askin individually. Even Kenpachi, who can do that, and that's because he can cut through anything, including basically the concept of Askin's power. So yeah. Pepe, he tries to use the whole, the love. Does not matter. Literally, he just gets frozen by Toshiro and then shattered. So that wasn't really a fight. Pause. Oh, sorry about that. What was I talking about? So Toshiro kind of just shattered Pepe. Next up would probably be Gerard. Gerard's whole thing is that he fought Uetsu first and then one-tapped. That wouldn't last for long. So Gerard gets up after being one-shot, and then Uetsu would have to fight him. But Gerard continues to get stronger. We see Kenpachi step in with Urahara. Urahara and Kenpachi both know how Gerard's power works off just a few glances. Now Gerard tries to slash Kenpachi himself, but Kenpachi will grab his sword, and then he will grab his hand, holding the sword, clutch it, and then just kind of shove it right up Gerard's head. So then Urahara unleashes Bankai, and basically just blow apart Gerard's entire body, except for like his head and his arm. We pretty quickly see where Gerard's kind of just core is, And as soon as they go to destroy it, Yuha just absorbs him. Because he already knows that he's going to be too much trouble to go through. Or, let's say, he tries to destroy it. Once that he raised one arm, Yuha is just kicked by Ichigo and sent flying down into the ground with Ichigo following after him. And that soon is met by Ichibei joining as well. Basically, everyone who's not dead yet. Basically being only Ichigo, Ichibei, and Kiryu. Well, Ichigo's squad is alive too, but this is kind of a given. They live through this. So, Ichigo, Ichibei, and Kiryu all fight Yuha. Now, he did try to absorb Gerard, it failed, and then led to Kenpachi kind of crushing his core. But Hugron tries to, do his own thing, trying, to fight. But this is where we see Uryu and Ichigo's friends step up for this arc. When trying to jump down and go fight them, he's punched square in the ribs by Chad. It really thinks Hugron must have blocked it, because Chad is not really too strong compared to characters like Hugron. But then he's met by blasts from Enrico, which he can also block or dodge. But he just dodges in the way of Uryu and Yoruichi. Those two will step in, and they land pretty good blows on Hugron. He jumps back, only be kicked in the back by the new substitute Shinigami, Ginjo. And the rest of execution, because they're on his side. So Hugron tries to find a way out of this, only to proceed to basically get bodied by all of them. Even if he tries to use a balance to alter their abilities, it's hard because they're all going like they're going above and beyond to defeat him. Especially Yoruichi, who's given some of Ichigo's power and his knowledge, so she saw through the ability pretty quickly and learned how to avoid it. But the main MVP for the fight is Yoruichi, the fact that she's basically moving at full power, kind of very similar to how she is in her basically her Thunder form. But the thing is, she's doing that in base form. So in base form, she's pretty easily able to get through and kill Hugron without really much effort. Back to Yuha, Ichigo, Ichibei, and Kiryu. They all fight against Yuha, and honestly, it was not a good fight whatsoever. Yuha's now away from Soul King, and he gets killed because of that. Oh, by the way, first the whole thing of Ichigo being compelled to kill the Soul King does not happen. His body kind of just resisted every aspect of Yuha's existence except for his own plateau. So, yeah. So, whatever Yuha or Aizen planned out for Ichigo, in his life, his body kind of rejected their existence. So, yeah, whatever Yuha thinks he can do to Ichigo does not work, and it results in his death via Ichibei. And Yuha becomes a partial Soul King as well. When they realize that, Soul King is kind of still alive, they can probably literally just find a way to reform him, or Ichigo can. Or, Arrancar can actually reform the entire Soul King. I just realized that. Or literally just get any mind in the world, not in the world, but just get Ichigo, Aizen, or Arrancar in a room, they can reform the Soul King. And then they can just replace him with Yuha. Because he basically absorbed the remaining, the ones who died. And he's strong enough to replace him. So, that's what happens. They reform the Soul King. Yuha takes his place. So, that basically ends Bleach. Soul King is doing his own thing, but also becomes basically the king of Soul Society. Or Sarite, but yeah. There's no families, just the Soul King. Everyone else is kind of just his subject, but he's a very fair person. And Ichigo basically kind of lives in the Soul Palace now. Everyone else kind of just left. Ichibei goes to serve his Soul King, and then Kiryu, all of them go back to what their lives were like before. But yeah, by the time Ichigo's 27, he does have a kid with Orihime, but they're not really together. Ichigo kind of still guards the Soul Palace by himself. But Kazui and Orihime stop by every once in a while. But this would end this video. Kind of. If you're curious about the Hell arc, let Ichigo exist in Hell for a minute and it will be erased. Hell does not matter to Ichigo at all. Nothing does. Power-wise. Power-wise, you can literally just breathe and wipe out the entirety of the Bleach universe. So, yeah. Well, this is what if. Hope you guys enjoyed. Like and subscribe for more. Adios.